to cut too much and jeopardise our schools and hospitals, and we won't allow Labour to borrow too much and risk our economy again. But imagine for a moment, just imagine, what will become of our wonderful country in the next 5 years if Nigel Farage and his friends on the right wing of the Conservative Party are calling the shots. Our public services cut to the bone, our communities divided, our shared British values of decency, of tolerance, of generosity just cast aside. And now imagine a Britain run by Ed Miliband and Alex Salmond. By the way, the reason I'm talking about him and not Nicola Sturgeon is that he's the one who's running for Parliament. He's the one who wants to sit in Westminster having his say over how our whole country is run. And if you want to stop him, the best way to do it is really very simple. Vote for the fantastic Christine Jardine in Gordon. So, imagine for a moment Miliband and Salmond's Britain. Our economy crippled by reckless borrowing. Our children destined to pay for it for years to come. The future of our united kingdom in the balance once again. Last time round, you chose to end the old red-blue, blue-red pendulum swing that has shortchanged you time and time again. This time round, you decide what comes next once again. And that is why every vote for the Liberal Democrats matters. That's why every Liberal Democrat MP elected next month matters. Only the Liberal Democrats can make sure the next government keeps Britain on track. Every Liberal Democrat MP makes Labour's reckless borrowing less likely. Every Liberal Democrat MP makes George Osborne's ideological cuts less likely. And every Liberal Democrat MP is a barrier between Nigel Farage and Alex Salmond and the door to 10 Downing Street. Because the Liberal Democrats, we will always act responsibly. We will always act fairly, and we will always act in the best interests of the whole of the United Kingdom. The truth is, just a few hundred votes in a very small number of seats could decide whether it is Liberal Democrat MPs, UKIP MPs, or SNP MPs who the next Prime Minister will be forced to listen to. There is a very thin line between Britain being governed by a coalition with a conscience or a coalition with a grievance. But we can and will win in those seats that will make all the difference. I've seen for myself over the last few weeks the momentum that is building behind Liberal Democrat candidates like Layla Moran, Lisa Smart, Vicky Slade. And when they win, when we have the chance to influence the next government, this is what we will set out to do. This manifesto is a blueprint for a stronger economy and a fairer society. This manifesto is a plan to finish the job of balancing the books and to do so fairly by protecting our schools, hospitals and public services. This manifesto is an insurance policy against a government lurching off to the extremes. And at its heart is one word that is absolutely central to what we Liberal Democrats believe: opportunity. No matter who you are, where you were born, what sexuality or religion you are, or what colour your skin is, you should have the same opportunity to get on in life. We want to tear down the barriers that stop you from reaching your potential. We want to smash the glass ceilings that keep you from achieving what you want to achieve. Your talent, your hard work, not the circumstances of your birth, should decide what you can be. When we formed the coalition in 2010, 3/4, 75% of our manifesto became part of the government's agenda. The priorities on its front page: fairer taxes, investment in the poorest children in our schools, fixing the economy and political reform, became central to what coalition government did. And that's why this manifesto matters. It is a programme for a liberal government with decency, tolerance and generosity at its heart. And once again, we've set out our top priorities on the front page. Prosperity for all, with the budget balanced fairly and investment in a high-skill, low-carbon economy. Opportunity for every child, with guaranteed funding from nursery to 19, from cradle to college, and qualified teachers in every classroom. Fair taxes, with a further £400 tax cut for working people by raising the personal allowance to £12,500. Quality healthcare for all, with an extra £8 billion for the NHS, and equal care for mental health. And our environment protected, with 5 green laws to protect nature and fight climate change. These are our top priorities. These are the things we will fight tooth and nail for in the next Parliament. And make no mistake, this is a programme for government, not opposition. It is not a shopping list of pie-in-the-sky ideas, but a set of proposals that builds on our record of action in government. We can say that we will cut taxes for millions of working people because that's what we've done every year in this government. We can say that we will invest in education because we have protected schools funding and created the pupil premium in government. We can say that we will properly fund the NHS and ensure equality for mental health because we have increased health spending. We have directed hundreds of millions of pounds to mental health treatment in government. I would not have recommended to the Liberal Democrats that we join the coalition back in 2010 if our front page priorities were not included in the coalition agreement. And I will take the same approach this time. That's why we have made our top priorities crystal clear this time. 5 steps to a stronger economy and a fairer society, slap bang on the front page of our manifesto. They are the building blocks of a modern, liberal Britain, where you, no matter what your background, have the opportunity to reach your potential. This document is how we keep Britain on track. We won't lurch off to the right with excessive cuts, as the Conservatives will. We won't lurch off to the left with excessive borrowing, as Labour will. And we won't drag Britain away from the mainstream centre ground, as Nigel Farage, Alex Salmond and their friends on the fringes will. You know, most people want a stronger economy and a fairer society, and they're fed up having to choose between one or the other. This manifesto proves you don't need to choose between them. If you choose the Liberal Democrats, you can have both. If you choose the Liberal Democrats, you can stop the next government from cutting too much or borrowing too much. If you choose the Liberal Democrats, you can stop Nigel Farage or Alex Salmond holding the next government to ransom. And you can have what we all want: a stronger economy and a fairer society with opportunity for everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right. Time for just a handful of questions. Who wants to go first? Adrian, yep.
What do you hope the impact on...
Hang on, you just wait for the...
What do you hope the impact on spending on mental health will be for people with those difficulties?
Look, I think what we are... First, by the way, before I say anything else, can I just pay personal tribute to you? I think what you have done with enormous personal courage to highlight what people face who have to live with HIV has been a real example to everybody. So thank you very much. Look, 1 in 4 of our fellow citizens suffer from mental health problems at some point in their lives. And yet there's been what amounts to, I don't know whether it was accident or by design, but what amounts to systematic discrimination over generations against those many, many individuals in our society who've had to suffer isolated, vulnerable, lonely, with mental health problems, who simply have not received the same treatment and compassion and support as those who have physical ailments. And so what we're kind of turning the page, really, on generations of inequality between mental health and physical health. We're not going to do it overnight. Mental health's been chronically underfunded for a long period of time. We've made a start in this government. We've started to lift the sort of lid on the stigma that has been attached to mental health for too long. We put £400 million into increased talking therapies, £150 million to help teenagers, both boys and girls, by the way, with eating disorders. We've introduced, as of this month, for the first time ever, waiting time standards if you have mental health problems in keeping with the waiting time standards.